Who wants to do the prayer in? Who wants to pray us in?
I'll do it.
All right, thank you.
What's the subject today?
It is messages from the ancients.
Okay. Okay, let us all come together in the understanding that God is all there is, and God is timeless. And that which we call ancient is referring to the wisdom and teaching of the ages, expressing itself through all creation in any form. And we accept that form. We recognize the wisdom because it is within ourselves. And as we celebrate the life and wisdom of the ages, we come together in the understanding that love is the answer. And we're here to ask, what's the question? And so it is.
So it is. Thanks, Charlie. Okay. We, the ancients, welcome you once more to the universal sphere of love. We have been silent and in observant, watchful mode for some time now. The repetition of our messages to love, recognize, and value the self does not in any way mean to say that we are not exceptionally pleased or gladdened to be with you. We are ceaselessly joyful in and of you, the Creator's masterpiece. You are loved unconditionally, precisely as you are. It is within your own beings that the lack of self-love, self-doubt, and judgment reside. These transmissions are in response to your prayers. We see the dissatisfaction, the inure, the absolute unhappiness you abide with, the separation of you from the love creator imbued with you. You are not now nor have ever been alone. We have been sent to assist you in rediscovering the magnificence of yourselves. All that we see is that perfection. As the extraordinary uniqueness of you begins its descent into love and acceptance, the opportunity for acceptance of all humanity grows, and that is our mission. You, dear child, have been diligent and have shared your transmissions, the messages of love and self-acceptance with some in your circle, and I think they're talking to Shirley. We are aware of the ever-expanding light that surrounds all. The heavens, the earth, the universal conjunctive force of elemental cohesiveness is preparing for its entrance into the new unfolding age of Aquarius, the emergence of energies of forgiveness and love. And this was from 1996, just saying. We are here to assist you in your process. We have been delegated as your support system. We have chosen and been chosen for this mission. You, the individual, unique and designed by the Creator to express love, are our assignment. You are joyous, and we are joyous in supporting and sustaining you in your quest to redefine and celebrate yourselves. For as you learn to appreciate and accept you with all your experiences, you open the doors of acceptance for all of God's creations, be they human, animal, plant, or mineral. As you relinquish your perceptions or expectations of others, you allow the spirit of love to enter you. Love without judgment, love without conditions, love for love's sake only. How truly simple the divine plan is. Again, we say that all there is love. The realm of possibilities and probabilities takes on a new flavor when viewed from love, self-acceptance, and empowerment. All is attainable, all doors open, all becomes achievable and feasible. God is made manifest through love. 3/4 of the inhabitants in your world believe in God or some deity that they cannot visibly see, yet many find it impossible to believe in themselves. Why is that? Where within the many scriptures written does it declare a diminishing of you, the individuals? The tenets to love God, your neighbor, and yourself equally and fully are all that need to be followed. As you become centered within the moment, realizing the interconnectedness of all things, you are exactly where you need to be. Dissension among humanity has given credence to greed. Thus, the texture of your finite being and those of all beings dissolves, allowing for fear to enter and find a home within. It convolutes, twists, and entwines the spirit so that it lies dormant within the psyche of the individual. It annihilates the sum and substance, the essence of who one is. Positivity is replaced by negativity, thus forming a detachment from the source of all, Creator, God, Buddha, Great Spirit, whatever one chooses as their deity. Your capacity for growth becomes limited. Creativity, unfortunately, is stifled. All knowledge heretofore understood is forgotten, and mistrust about who you are and the potentiality of you as a complete, undiminished being is forgotten. Our efforts to uplift, upgrade, and restore your cognizance to the potentiality of you as an intelligent, sentient, enlightened presence who has the built-in capacity to manifest their wishes, hopes, and dreams have been tireless and unrelenting. Nowhere, at no time, has the Creator looked upon you as imperfect spirits. Your knowledge of God has been diminished by those who have taken the words and contrived to originate mistrust, fear within humanity. To control and allow a division amongst mankind in order to gain power over them was the intent of some of these individuals. They devised laws which set one apart from God, which set each apart from another. In this way, could they keep the populace in abeyance. Their doctrines superseded the original plan of love and forgiveness, leaving space for derision, hate, and violence to occur. We sent you beings of love and hope to perforate the veil which is placed between you and God. We penetrate the hearts and minds of those who would hear us, who would listen and seek truth. Their desire was to awaken each being to remembrance of who they were, who Creator is. They ceaselessly gave their love in the hopes of instilling faith among God's chosen, which is everybody. They taught forgiveness. They taught unity. They taught and shared themselves in their efforts to arise passion within each being. The passion, the will, the fire to live as one. The angelic kingdom has remained intact and made visible to many. The concept of oneness, of compassion, of knowledge, of recollection of perfection was and is their task to awaken and pique your interest once more in the divinity of you. Your history has changed as these beings incarnated. Many attempted to ridicule and obliterate them, yet were never able to totally destroy them. Their memory lives on. Be prepared for the emergence of yet another prophet of love to come forth. Another epic historical event is approaching us. Prepare yourself as the upcoming millennium approaches. Release the fears which imprison you. Allow the symphony long awaited to begin. Cast aside doubt and mistrust. Make room for loving energies to penetrate your psyche. Stay in the moment. Realize your potential, live your life as God has intended you to do. The most magnificent moment of history is upon us. Will you join us? Will you partake the cup of love offered yet another time? Will you release all that is not love? Again, dear children of God, you have not been forsaken, only asleep for a moment. The time is now. The players in the story are you. You are all that has been, is, or will be. You are the personification and reflection of the image of God incarnate. We ancients herald you, bless you, love you. We are joyful, we are in joyful sponsorship of you. We rejoice in you. Until our next moment. Blessings. Again, that was just before 2000, the millennia. 1996. I guess most of these were between 95 and 96. But I think, a lot of what they said can be happening now. I mean, we are seeing changes. We are seeing people who talk more of love than hate. Not enough of them, but I keep hoping.
Well, we
that
also
we-
have science kind of proving that metaphysics is true. And that's
Yes.
really what's intriguing, is that I was trained as a scientist, but then I went to spirituality, and it's like, I'm really happy that now they're connecting, and that it's really a good thing, and even a happening thing for people to be bringing meditation to their workplace, etc.
Mhm. And quantum physics has proven lots of stuff and
Yes.
blown people away.
Yes.
So yeah, and now they can say, yeah, people really can talk to dead people,
Yeah.
or we can communicate
Mhm.
beyond what we thought. And one of my guides is actually the guy that created Newcom, was a scientist. He was a brilliant scientist on this earth. He is now working with a group of scientists on a different plane, and their whole focus is to try and find ways to help humanity learn the truth and help itself
Hmm.
and get away from this greed and hate. And he gives me little stuff every once in a while. He can't tell me exactly what he's up to.
Yeah.
Because that's not allowed, but I get hints.
Yeah. I had a friend, I think I shared last week about the friend that swam with the dolphins and was able to kind of
Mm,
put herself in another space. And did I tell you this or not about the Sedona Bell Rock? That it's time to
No.
ring the bell. So she and a group of people went and did this whole weekend retreat on Bell Rock in Sedona. And they basically were saying that the portals are near and that they're almost open, and that if everybody conscientiously as a group would start to intend and meditate toward ringing the bell, that was one of the main portals that was going to be opening quite soon.
wow. Because that's
Yeah.
a very powerful vortex.
Yeah.
I got knocked on my butt in that vortex, and I was only a quarter of the way up.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, whoa, I better sit down.
Yeah.
Sedona's amazing. Go ahead.
I was amazed last week. I saw an advertisement on a program, and I think it was a network like ABC or whatever. They were doing a full special on near-death experiences.
Oh,
And they were treating it like it's an actual thing. I was doing dishes and it caught me that I went and checked it. And how you can almost tell something's up. The fundamentalists are getting all up in arms about how dare spirituality enhance your own personal spirituality. If you don't believe our dogma, you're not spiritual. And including one of the things, a guy was talking about a version of spirituality, and he was claiming that unless the Bible was written in Old English and if the Bible didn't have thee and thou in it, you couldn't respect it as a spiritual word. And I thought, wow.
good golly. Yeah.
Making rules as
How
we go.
close-minded.
Yeah, really. Well, there's always somebody willing to make rules for everybody else.
Yeah.
Kevin, I've been going to a near-death experience group for about 10 years now. Once a month, they have a meeting and they have a speaker every time. And it's so incredible and so amazing. And now they're on Zoom. So if you want the link, I can send you the link. It's once a month. It's the second Monday night of the month every month. And they have some incredible speakers.
It's all over YouTube. If you ever want to see interviews, I have a few of them on my website. I've been keeping significant near-death experiences on my website, and they're all over YouTube.
They all have a common thread too. And what the common thread is unconditional love.
Yeah.
All feel this overwhelming feeling of unconditional love, and they don't want to come back.
No. They're happy to stay there.
Unfortunately, we do get sent back, whether we want to come back or
We're
not.
not ready for you yet.
Yeah, well, my mother always said God didn't want me and the devil didn't want me down there telling him what to do, so I was going to live forever. She might be right. I don't know. But
Well,
yeah, I
I've
didn't.
always claimed only the good die young, and I'm going to be living to 108.
Yeah, near-death experiences are fascinating because you don't want to come back. I had one when I was 16, and my great-grandmother, who I met once in my life, was standing there, and I'm like, oh, that garden is beautiful. The love I feel is wonderful. My life sucks. Let me stay here. And she goes, nope, you have work to do. You have to go back. And I'm like, but I don't want to go back. There I was, back in my bed in the hospital. And she was right. I had work to do.
And there was one guy, he's also a friend of mine. He lives in my complex here. It was wintertime, and he was driving his car, and it was very slippery out, and he started sliding sideways, and he saw this car coming right at him, and all of a sudden he was above the car, watched the accident happen, and then slammed back into his body afterwards. I found that very interesting, and everybody talked about it after, and they all came to the same conclusion that he left his body so he wouldn't feel the trauma and the pain of the accident.
Didn't you say, Paula, that you checked in with some of the 9/11 guides?
I actually went to a lecture given by a British psychic. What the heck was her name? Rosemary Altea. And she had checked in, or she was heading to check in with the 9/11 people, because she had been getting messages from the people that crossed over.
Mhm.
And most of them said that angels came and took their spirits long before the building exploded, so that they felt nothing at all, but peace and love. And they wanted their families to know that they did not suffer, because everybody was burnt to a crisp. But they said just as soon as the plane hit the building, they were all gone already, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
I've
She was-
I've heard that from various mediums that do 9/11 readings, and the message is almost universal.
Mhm.
But even when they do readings of non 9/11, death itself is not painful. The process of dying can be painful. But what I heard last week, what really intrigued me, because if I have a wish list, it is to be able to go to the Vatican and roam around their archives and be able to understand everything I read. That is my wish list. But then I heard last week, and the guy put it, the moment we die, we have an instant knowing. So I'm gonna get my wish.
You're just gonna have to die to do it.
Yeah, I don't even have to roam around the archives to do it. I'll just know it,
Yeah.
Well, I know in my heart and soul, with all the hospice work I've done for the past 23 years, that you are never alone when you pass. Someone always comes to greet you and helps you cross over. I've seen people reach their hand up. I've heard people call out a name. A very good friend of mine saw her father in the window just shortly before um, she passed. And I know for a fact that you're never alone.
Yeah, yeah. That's a very common message.
Mhm.
I heard John Edward was giving a talk shortly after the pandemic started, and there were folks in the audience that were worried that their parent had died in the hospital all alone from COVID because nobody could get in, and he stopped them right on the spot, and he said, no matter what situation you're in and how you die, you are never alone. There is a spirit with you, a loved one with you, whatever, and that you are never alone when you pass over.
Or an angel, or
Yeah,
Angel.
yeah,
a family
somebody.
member, an angel. It could be a dog,
Yeah,
a pet, but you're never alone.
yeah.
And when I worked in the nursing home, of course, most of my patients died. But one of my friends who had been my patient was dying, and her husband showed up. And I said to her, "Your flyboy's here. He's waiting for you to come." And she was definitely comatose. And I get this little smile, like he's gonna wait. So we were all gathered around. I told them to, bring all of her friends to say goodbye. And he was there. And then all of a sudden, all of her relatives were there too. I mean, the room was full. And I said to her in my mind, "Bert, I brought everybody I could think of to say goodbye to you. What's going on? Captain's here waiting for you." She said, "You haven't said goodbye." Oh, sorry about that. As soon as I said goodbye, an angel came, picked up her spirit, and I saw it. It picked up her spirit and flew out the window, which her son had left open. It was the most beautiful experience I have ever had. And all the nurses with me were also psychic. So they saw the same thing I saw. And they were like, wow, we had never seen that before. That was just so amazing. But I was so close to this woman that I think I was privileged to see all of that.
I consider it such a gift to be there when someone is passing. And people say to me, a lot of my friends will say, "I don't know how you can do that. Doesn't it make you sad?" And I said, "No, it doesn't, because I know they're free. They're free from their pain. It doesn't bother me at all. I think it's a gift
Mhm.
and an honor to be
Yeah,
a
a
witness."
witness. Yeah.
I had one young patient. She was only in her 40s, and she was homeless, and she was in a nursing home, and all her belongings were in a black garbage bag in the corner. And when I first touched her to do Reiki, she started to cry. And I said, am I hurting you? And she said, "No, I haven't been touched in such a long time that it just got to me." And so I started talking to her when I go and telling her about transition, because she was getting very close. And I told her, I said, "Someone will come for you. It'll be a friend or a family member or an angel, but someone will come for you and you won't be alone." So she passed the following week, and no one had informed me yet. So I went there and I talked to her nurse, and I said, "What was it, an easy passing?" And she said, "Well, shortly before she passed, she told me she saw an angel in the window." That was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I've learned that angels come in wearing human uniforms. And one of the angels that seems prevalent are hairdressers. I take my wife to get her hair done. There's always a hairdresser coming out, helping her get out of the car and into the hair salon. yesterday I'm going to a memorial service, a living memorial service. And I wanted to get there early so I could park near the place. Well, sure enough, I didn't get there early. I parked on a steep hillside, and I had to be able to trudge up the hill to this house. Well, as I arrived, there was a woman that was parked there that was crossing the street towards me. I knew she was going to the house, so I said hello. She came over and took me by the arm and helped me up the hill and into the house. And she was a hairdresser for the lady that had passed. So we have many living angels. No, I could say Dolly living with us is an angel. She brings a lot of laughter into our house. And to me, laughter is a form of enlightenment. We lighten up. So often we overlook the angelic expressions that are the godlike expressions that we all have in life. It's amazing. And more of the fascinating, and I wrote a book called The Next Step with Spirit, which has a lot to do with about the mysteries that happen in our life. And one of the mysteries that was shared with me by a lady that was the director of Meditation Mount for years, Frances Adams. She was a lovely lady, and she told me about when she was back in Maine, and they were in the back country riding a vehicle on a very narrow road that only allowed like one car to come down. Well, this truck came down the mountain right at them, and to her amazement, the truck went through them like a ghost.
Wow.
It's like they all entered into the spirit world, and they could feel the truck moving through them. None of them were injured. And the three passengers in her car all had different experiences to report. But hers was almost a year later, she said she still kind of felt the pain of that vehicle passing through her. The memory of it, the significance of it. So there's some weird stories like that, but when they come from friends that you've known for years who are spiritually attuned, very aware, you know that they're true.
Dolly, thank you for bringing laughter.
Yeah.
So, we do, we have a lot of angels, certainly all the hospice work you've done, and certainly the mothers that raise children, or the struggles that we go through in humanity in their experience of living. I was I was lying in bed thinking of all the beautiful things that have happened in my life. And even the beautiful things that happen can be painful, but they are beautiful, like the birth of a child and the pain that a mother goes through. And man, the pain I went through hearing my wife cry out so loud, I almost passed out. But the beautiful result of that and having a wonderful child, it's like magic. It's a magical moment. And certainly there are a lot of beautiful things that happen in all our lives that are not painful. But in this human experience, we certainly can avoid pain. We do a lot of things to avoid pain, avoid suffering. But ultimately, it's helpful to find our spiritual identity and identify with that. And that takes us out of the anguish of any situation. So anyway, I appreciate all your sharing today and all your experience in death and dying. And on Netflix, there's a very popular movie I watched last night about aliens, and I don't know if you've seen it, but um, it's kind of difficult to explain, but the beauty of it is, the tragedy of it is that because so much of the population gets frightened about something they don't know, they want their governments to kill it, shoot it down, get rid of it, and we're scared of it. And that's so often the case of or ordinary human understanding, the lack of spiritual awareness. But then the gaining of that spiritual awareness that takes us beyond that which separates us creates the healing. So, however we get there, it's a gift. It's marvelous. All right, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. V, did you have something to share?
I have been distracted doing a bunch of stuff getting ready for my event later. So
Okay. I just wondered because you unmuted yourself, so I thought you wanted to talk.
that is my phone doing its own thing.
Oh,
Okay.
Sorry.
no problem.
No apology necessary.
So we've talked about death and dying. How about living
Would
in
you
a
like to
positive
say
way?
something?
Well, one thing people, when I used to work as an undertaker, people say, oh, you understand death, you understand death. No, you don't. But you understand and appreciate life. I've seen 10-year-old girls go off to school at 8:30 in the morning and be dead by a heart attack at 10 a.m. So you learn to, when you see that much death around you, you certainly learn to cherish every moment of life. And you don't put anything off until tomorrow, because I know it sounds cliche, but tomorrow may never come. And I've seen family after family where tomorrow never comes. So you have to enjoy life to the fullest, and a good majority of that is a spiritual input. You need to, I think, to fully feel like you have lived life, I think you really have to have a vibrant spiritual aspect to things. A lot of people who don't have a good spiritual aspect of things, unfortunately, lie on their deathbed and have regrets. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done this. I should have done this. Well, if you'd have done it in the first place, you wouldn't have anything to regret. You know, and it's like I always tell people who are about to retire and they're freaking out. Oh my, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, if you have a healthy volunteer life before you retire, when you retire, your volunteer life just takes over. And in a year's time, you go, how did I ever fit work into all that? Well, it's kind of like that with our spiritual life. If we have a good spiritual life, well, then it feels more rewarding and more satisfying, I guess might be a better term. You can be contented with yourself when you know you've done your best. Not perfect, your best.
Yeah, we have,
I love it.
go ahead, B, go ahead, please.
I was just saying, I love that. What you
Yeah.
just said, Kevin. It's great.
Yeah. And when we're in spiritual healing work or energetic healing work, we always, aspire to do whatever we're asking for the highest and best for this time, for right now, not necessarily trying to map the future.
A lot of people will ask me if they have a family member that's transitioning, what can I do? What can I say? What kind of prayers can I ask for? And I always tell them, just ask for their highest and best.
Most benevolent outcome.
You know what I just found? I've been going through my file cabinets because I bought a new, better one. And so I've been going through everything, see what I want to throw away and what I want to keep. And one thing I found was a booklet. I think it's called The Guide for the Caregiver by Mo. It was written by Mo. A copy of that the first time I met her at a conference. Thought, wow, I got to get that out and read it again.
Yeah.
She was incredible. The first time I saw her was when she did her clown act in Arizona. I thought I was going to wet my pants. She no holds barred. She just said what was on her mind, and but she was so funny with her big red nose and her shoes. She was amazing. And then when I heard all the things she did, collecting backpacks and school supplies for the indigenous people, and I don't know what res she did. Has anybody ever taken that up and continued? Do you know anything? No.
What
Charlie,
I can tell you a little bit about Mo. She, years ago in the 70s, maybe the early 70s, she came to Bobby for counseling. And when Bobby found out her spiritual interest, she introduced me to Mo. And Mo, she has a history of family being in a circus, so she's used to being entertaining. But the reason she called herself Mo, M-O, is she said that means mother. And she used her motherly love to work with a lot of people. And certainly with the AIDS patients at the one time in her life. And certainly but she always progressed. After she wanted to learn and keep learning, so she entered the World University, which is in Ojai, which is, she took a lot of classes, and I think she got equivalent of her BS degree. And then she worked with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who was her mentor. And so she kept growing. She loved to grow. She loved to grow. And her humor was fantastic. And when one gathering we had, they brought me up on the stage. I've told you about this before. It was like, what do you call it when you pick on an actor? You have a session where everybody's kind of be funny, mean to the person, right?
A
So
roast.
roasting?
Yeah.
A
what do you
roast.
call it?
A
roast.
roast.
Roasting. Yeah, so I was up on stage and I was kind of the victim of a roasting. And so Mo, what does she do? She throws me down on the stage, on the floor, lies on top of me, and everybody's laughing like hell. And then Mo whispers in my ear, "What should I do next? What should I do next?" I said, "Move your hips up and down, move your hips up and down." And people just went in hysterics. So, I met her husband who, in Ojai, who had been a State Farm insurance agent. And, but he was debilitated. I think he was the point of having amputation on one of his legs or something. And Mo has a lot of children, a lot of kids. And eventually she lived alone out in Palm Springs, California. But she always traveled. She liked to travel. She introduced me to the American Indians, and she would go to one of their like powwows in Iowa or something. And she was always looking for how other people celebrate spirituality. And then she would invite them into our community. So we had several Indian chiefs in our community that we were acquainted with. So her thirst for knowledge equaled her desire to serve humanistically as a mother, as a loving mother. And she had lots of examples in her life. And she brought Elizabeth Kubler-Ross into our community. So we made her an honorary bishop in our community. So Mo also invited us, Bobby and I, back. Bobby was speaking back in, where did they have that hospital there? It was back in Minnesota or something, or Michigan. What's the name of that? John Hopkins?
No,
What's the name of that
it'll
hospital?
come to me.
Well, anyway, there's a hospital back where Mo grew up. And Bobby,
Clinic.
the Mayo Clinic, that's the one. Thank you, dear. And so Bobby was speaking there, so we joined Mo there, and she introduced us to her sister. And her sister was amazing. She was just the opposite of Mo. She was a recluse. She couldn't stand being around people. It was an interesting contrast. And we tried to encourage her to come out and do more, but she never did. Anyways, it was certainly a privilege to have Mo in our community and give so much of herself. And she became a real sidekick of Shirley and also of Melon and of Margaret Hedden. And they'd often do things together, like travel to Vegas. They had great times together. So Mo made such a wonderful contribution to our community. So, like some of you know, where you blessed our community with your presence and with your gifts. And I hope that continues, that we attract people like Mo that join us in celebrating life.
Yeah, actually, B has offered to do interviews with each of us and put some material up on YouTube so that we have a little bit more exposure to attract people like that.
Yeah, because we each have a rich background, and yeah, I mean, how many people have a funeral director on their board?
Many of my
Get
friends
it
told me I should write a book about all my hospice experiences, and I do have a notebook where I write down the ones that are valuable to me. I have a notebook full of them.
You could easily put a book together by taking those notes and just applying them to ChatGPT or any of the AI bots, and it can construct sentences and paragraphs and chapters for you.
Yeah, it's amazing. The artificial intelligence can speed up this thing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can lead us through that, Nikki, because you're the younger.
I don't feel
probably the
younger
youngest
amongst the
in
people
our-
I'm working with. They're very young. It's like I'm the old fart in the group.
Somebody
Okay.
has to be.
Yeah.
There's a hospice nurse who does short videos on YouTube. And what has amazed me listening to her, I mean, she comes across secular, but she's always talking about the spiritual elements of her clients that are getting ready to pass over. And she does with the permission of the family. like she has shown hospice patients where they're reaching and they're smiling and they're talking to whoever is out there. And she does these little 3-minute clips that are very good. And it's all about hospice care and what you, as a family member, can do, and help to she helps you to understand the dying process kind of thing. And
The
take
title
it
that
out
came
the
to mind
shot.
is What to Expect When You're Expecting, but this
Yeah.
is on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube is doing what Google search engine was so great. And now YouTube is opening it up to everybody has put their experience or talks into play, and you can find almost any subject and go back in time and listen to lectures by super intelligent beings. And the thing that has made this transition so possible is what? The invention of electricity. Since the invention of electricity, bringing light into the world, we have the opportunity then to create artificial intelligence. We've created computerization, and and a means of international communication rapidly. So during our lifetime, or my lifetime, we've certainly seen progress, even tremendous progress, towards being able to think in terms of being one globe, one community. And the other thing is that you talk about our subject today, the ancients' wisdom. You look at all the gray hair here and all the ancient wisdom that we're talking about of people's on real life experiences. And the other thing is, yeah, that we're getting help from whatever. You can ancient wisdoms from angels, from people that have journeyed through the human experience and come out as ascended masters. We're getting all kinds of help. But the truth is, whatever we're seeking, we can find within ourselves. And that's another message that we're learning. So once you've sought it and you've found it, it's because it's already there within us. So
Yeah.
that's the amazing aspect of spirituality.
That they call that the remembering, which is remembering what's already there.
Yeah, remembering.
Yeah, you talk about technology and how things are growing and very robustly. I don't know if you know anything about Moore's law, but it's about doublings or maybe compound interest if you're interested in finance, where you just leave things in to go and double. After 30 doublings, you can go from 1 to 1 billion. Whereas in linear growth, you take 30 steps and you're 30 meters across the room, and that's it. So this is how technology is growing now. And so these doublings are causing this exponential curve to be hit in several industries at the same time. And that's where a lot of these futuristic minds are coming from. And that's where AI is taking a lot of us. And so they're augmenting people with talent to do either writing or artistic works, or, and even tinkering on building computers and writing code. The AI bots can now write code for you. So it's like, I've never written a line of code in my life, but now I can go and write code. I tell it to do it, and then I plug it in and I fix it if there's something wrong with it. So it's like, it takes you to a whole nother level. That's how you can write a book, Laura. You basically enter the details, and then it writes for you the baseline. And then you go in and you customize it with your experiences and with your, details.
Into that.
Yeah.
If you'd like to
It
have,
gives you,
you'd like to have a speaker some Sunday on the
Uh-huh.
topic of death experience, a friend of mine who actually runs the group that I go to, she's had 3, and she even, one of her experiences was in front of a council of like 8 or 9 entities, what is what she calls them. And she actually had someone make a painting of that.
Mhm.
And she's written a book about it, and she has spoken at national conventions. She lives here in Connecticut, and I know her, and she would probably love to do that sometime if anybody would be interested in that.
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, let's have her. Come on. Invite her, please.
I will.
Go get her.
No.
You know, when I talked about watching that kind of science fiction thing about extraterrestrials, it did bring up the subject that's interesting. Is it possible for us to give up linear thinking? And then what happens?
No, that's the hope and the desire. If you think about
Yeah.
what used to be a computer was as big as, we had this room-sized computer.
Yeah.
Back when I was in college, that's what it is. And now they're this, and nobody would have expected such a thing. But now we can't live without it. Our phones are more powerful than the computers that sent our Apollo to the moon. And how did we accomplish that without?
I
What
just
can we
saw-
accomplish in the future? Go ahead, Laura.
I just saw a program on TV where people are always complaining about when they call a customer service and they never get a person. They always get, a forwarding or whatever. And so now they're starting to use AI as the customer service because they can give the exact answer from the question that they receive from the customer.
Yeah, versus the humans who are trained to just say certain things and they can't even think outside the box when you have a custom question, right?
Yeah.
But I love it
humans-
when AI though says, okay, if I have not answered your questions, would you like to speak to a live person? Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, we were at the beach last week, and this guy about our age decided to talk to everybody. He was a recovering alcoholic, and he let the whole beach know this. But he goes in the water and he starts playing with all the kids in the water and starts telling them how we lived when we were their age. And this little girl's looking at him. She goes, "You didn't have a computer?" He goes, "No." "Well, how did you communicate?" He goes, "It's called pencil and paper." And she went, "That would drive me crazy." She said, "I can't live without my computer." And I started laughing. So we started telling them what television was like in the 50s. These kids were like hysterical in the water saying, "I can't believe this. This has got to be fiction." I said, "No, it's not. It's the way we had to live."
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. That's how far. I mean, look at the amazing things that I have seen in 75 years.
Mhm.
And Charlie, you in almost 90 years. I mean, it's just the changes in medicine, the field of medicine changed so much. It's one of the reasons I quit because I couldn't deal with the computers. But back to spiritual stuff, the one thing they can't do for us is pray. We can still send our energy in our prayers. And I just got a message from my sister, that young woman. Oh God, I think I put her on the prayer list last year. She has been suffering from postpartum depression for 7 years. She's finally able to, her husband finally took her back to Exumer for a weekend because this is the best she's ever been. And my sister said, "Tell your group not to stop praying for her. This is the best she has been in 7 years." It works. Our energy is something AI cannot do, which is why we're all still necessary.
Yeah.
And what that one thing that we can do is send that energy, that beautiful energy that we all have. So again, thanks from my sister and Bill, the lady's husband,
Yeah.
for the prayer.
Yes. And AI wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our human intelligence.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
And it's only meant to be augmenting. So what they're saying is AI is not going to replace jobs. They're going to replace AI will not do that replacement, but humans using AI will. So if
Well,
you don't use AI, then you will be
Right.
left behind. But
Yeah.
it's the humans that augment and can do so much
Yeah.
more. It's like if you can educate people about energetic healings and conditions, then that can increase the masses that then tend to start to use it.
right. Yeah. When I was in Florida, I read Michener's Origins, and it was all about this guy who created this computer who was just like a human being. He called him Winston. And the guy actually had the computer find a hitman to murder him. And it took the detective a long time to figure out. And finally, the computer said he was going to die anyway. And he wanted the AI that I am to become recognized. And the detective said, but why put me all through this? He goes, it was all part of the plan. And he said, and the other plan is I'm disintegrating myself right now. And that was the end of the story. It was like, oh, it was amazing. And this computer was thinking and talking to the man through
Yeah.
this microphone. It was just fascinating. And I'm sure we're coming to that. We're already there actually. Because B suggested I try to set my own website up on Squarespace. And
Mhm.
it's got AI. It gave me 4 different creative ways to express what my book was about. And I could pick and choose from those 4 things. And I combined all 4 of them because each one of them had something I really liked and I wanted my book. And I was like, I was having so much fun with it. I said, I got to tell Nikki, I had fun with AI. And she's going to be amazed.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. It was just like, wow. This thing got inside my brain and
Yep.
figured out what I was trying to say.
Yep.
It was a little scary, but it was just like, wow, that's what I wanted to say.
Yep.
Picking my brain.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
I could combine a 20-minute sound meditation with my very expensive new microphone for a talk about near-death experience.
Yeah.
You think you can get her for next week or?
Ooh, I don't know. I can try.
Are we going to do a closing meditation?
Laura's good at those.
Okay. All right. Take a nice slow breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And another slow breath in, and a slow breath out. And one more slow breath in, and a slow breath out. And now in your mind's eye, imagine a beautiful white ball of light, a healing, loving ball of white light that's coming down from the universe, from the God source, and entering into the top of your head through your crown chakra. Cleansing and clearing and moving down through your head, down through your neck, out to your shoulders, moving slowly down your arms, through your elbows, through your wrists, and into your hands and fingers. And imagining that beautiful white ball of light going down your chest, surrounding your heart and your lungs, filling your rib cage with a healing, loving glow, moving down through your solar plexus, through your waist and down below into all your organs, liver, kidneys, stomach, all the way down to the hips, moving slowly down the legs, through the knees, through the shins and the calves, through the ankles, and into the feet and toes. And now see this beautiful white light coming out the bottoms of your feet and going down through the floor, through the foundation, and into the earth below. Spreading out like the roots of a tree and going deeper and deeper into the earth, bringing everything that it's picked up in your body down to the earth for a cleansing and a clearing. And so you see yourself connected to the earth and connected to the universe. And feel that healing going on throughout your entire body. And when you're ready, bring your thoughts back to the room that you're sitting in, the chair that you're in, wiggling your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, opening your eyes and coming back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks. That was great.
And do we have a subject for next week?
Well, if Shirley doesn't have a crisis next week, she can actually read another ancient message from the ancients.
Okay.
Hold it, Tina, and I'll let you know, Nikki.
Yeah, if you could let me know before, or maybe by Friday, because I usually write the newsletter on Saturday about what topics we're gonna do.
And then if we can't,
Thank you.
I'll hook Shirley into doing her job here.
Yeah, I think if we could maybe come up with titles when we do these repeats, like I did more of the ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
If we can come up with either a topic or a title or an angle that we're gonna cover, that would be helpful.
Okay. So let me know if Laura can get that lady for next week. If she can't, I'll go through this because I'm seeing Shirley on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we'll find one that she wants to read again
Okay.
and give you a better title than a repeat.
Thank you.
Good.
All right. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Thank you.
Blessed
Good
week.
night. Bye-bye.
right.
Stay
folks.
safe.
Bye.
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 Ciao.